Hey guys, don't forget to check out my book by the same name as the podcast, The Gospel of Fire. It is on Amazon. So just go on Amazon.com, The Gospel of Fire, or you can just simply search my name as well, Eliot Marshall, and it will pop up. You can buy the Kindle version or the paperback version. I appreciate the support, and it just kind of goes up in about my life a little bit as a memoir-ish to self-help-ish type book. But check it out. Leave a review if you so choose and you find it helpful or unhelpful, either way. So Amazon.com and then search The Gospel of Fire. Guys, the podcast is also brought to you by Onnit, ONNIT, Human Optimization Company. Again, code word Eliot is the code word for your order on Onnit. You will receive 10% off. Again, ONNIT, all kinds of stuff for human optimization. They have supplements. They have the Total Human. They have all kinds of stuff. Alpha Brain. I love me some Alpha Brain every once in a while when I know I got to sit down, get some work done. The brain just kicks in a little bit. I've enjoyed using the Shroom Tech Sport. It gives that little extra boost when I'm getting ready to go do a workout. So again, ONNIT, code word Eliot, and you will receive 10% off your order. Guys, this podcast is being brought to you by Evo Labs. Evo Labs is a cannabis company who has some of the best CBD products on the market. I really enjoy all their CBD products. They have an intense salve that is my favorite product, where deals with muscle soreness. You rub it on your muscles. You rub it on your body after a shower, and really helps relieve the soreness. The other CBD products, all kinds of different ones that you can intake or use, some for sleeping, some for stress and anxiety. Anyway, evolabs.com, go check them out, and you type in the code word FIRE and you will receive 10% off your order. evolabs.com. Ever have sore, beat up fingers after jiu-jitsu? We all have, right? Ever wish there was a better way to ice them down than sticking your fingers in a cup of ice water? Well, now there is. Penguin Fingers. Invented by a jiu-jitsu black belt, Penguin Fingers remove the soreness from your fingers or your toes in just minutes, allowing you to train harder and longer with less damage to your digits. Chronic inflammation is like sand in your joints. Training day in and day out with sore, irritated fingers can leave them arthritic and knobby. Penguin Fingers can stop all of that before it ever starts. Penguin Fingers non-toxic, reusable individual finger ice packs come in boxes of 1, 2, or 4 soft gel sleeves. Simply keep them in your freezer and roll them out onto sore fingers or toes as they're needed. Available on Amazon or at penguinfingers.com. Fingers are life tools. Protect them. Use code 10THEFIRE and you will receive 10% off at checkout. Again, 10THEFIRE for 10% off at checkout at penguinfingers.com. Hey guys, this is former UFC fighter Eliot Marshall, and this is The Gospel of Fire, where we're going to go through the fire to learn how to live the best life possible. Guys, here we are, another episode, Gospel of Fire. I'm here with my man, Olympic bronze medalist, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, author, Adam Wheeler. What's up, man?
What's up? How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for coming on. I was thinking about it the earlier today. I don't know your story. All I know is that we're friends. You're a firefighter now, and you're a black belt and a bronze medalist, and now an author.
Yeah.
So obviously you wrestled a lot, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that's where I got my start in pretty much any real sports was wrestling. I played baseball as a kid and growing up, but
where did you grow up?
I grew up in California, in the desert of Lancaster, California, which is Los Angeles County.
Okay.
but it's you can't really call it LA because it's kind of like a suburb out in the desert.
Man, there's only very few parts of. I mean, I don't even know that I really like it, but I like staying there. We go whenever I go to LA, I stay in Newport Beach.
Okay, yeah, that's a lot nicer than where I grew up.
Yeah. I love Newport Beach. Like everything's super easy. My favorite restaurant in California is like right down the road. So, yeah, I don't know. Other than that, I don't really like LA that much.
Yeah, it's too much going on, I feel like.
It's too much. It's too like it's like the dumbest thing ever. Like you have no money sometimes. You live in this tiny shitty house, but goddamn, you're gonna drive a fly car with rims on it.
Yep, that's the
You know.
I have friends from high school, so I think we're the same age, but I'm going to my 20-year reunion this year.
How old are you?
38.
All right, I'm about to be 39. A month. I have one more month of 38.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Then it's all downhill after that year.
Yeah, 39's the big one.
But yeah, I still have friends on Facebook from high school and stuff, and they're posting pictures of their, really nice cars and all this stuff, but then their address is an apartment number, and I'm sure it's not anything extra special, but
yeah, what are you doing?
Image is huge. Yeah.
What are you doing? That's the wrong way. You're throwing your money at a greatly, especially a fly car. Like, look, I don't mind having a fly car. Like, people can have fly cars. Like, I have a nice car. I love it. But
yeah.
It was the last thing. It was like my last purchase.
Well, image is huge in California.
Right.
Every time I go home, I realize it more and more. Image is huge in comparison. I feel like we're a lot more humble as far as image goes out here in Colorado.
Yeah, for sure. And man, don't get me wrong. I understand the nice car thing, because if you spend a lot of time in your car, then which I do have to drive a ton, right? Like at least an hour a day. Like, I get it. You want to be comfortable, so I'm not going to hate on it. Like, and
yeah.
In California, I mean, it's an easy hour a day for most people, right? Like, just with the
Yeah,
traffic.
yeah.
So do it. Go ahead, have at it. But like, man, make sure your kids are good with college first.
Yep. Yeah. That's kind of my priority right now in my life is my kids now, and I think that's something that I listen to a lot of your podcasts and stuff, and it kind of sounds like that's something that me and you really have in common, is the importance of that.
Well, yeah, because it just shifts, right? Like you're responsible for these little people that have like nothing, And like if you look at like human evolution, or just like the growth of a human compared to like other animals, like I've been reading a lot about this. Like all these other animals are like born at a much later gestational stage, right? Like they're way more self-sufficient than a human is when it comes out,
Yeah.
So like you have to take care of them. Where like, I mean, how long does a baby cub stay with its mom? Not that long, I don't think.
Yeah, definitely not like 18 years.
Not like 18 years, and then the rest of your life, right? Like my parents still deal with me and my sister's bullshit sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
So fuck, what are you gonna do, right? But all right, anyway, California. So when did you start? When did you get into athletics?
So as a kid, I grew up. I was a baseball player as a kid, and that was what I loved to do. We started playing baseball at like 4 or 5 years old out there. And if you would have asked me when I was, 13, 14, and from 5 till then, I would have told you I'm going to be a pro baseball player. So I always played baseball, but it wasn't, it was just little league, rec league. It wasn't anything serious. Our coaches were just guys who probably played little league. At best, maybe played in high school. And I thought I was going to be a pro baseball player. I kind of a funny story is I broke my femur bone. It's not really funny, but broke my femur bone when I was 11 years old.
Yeah, that sucks, bro.
Yeah. Playing baseball, sliding into home. And I was like a big, pretty athletic, pretty fast kid. I was strong. I wasn't the best athlete ever, but I wasn't like a bad athlete, if that makes sense.
Right.
I was probably, I always had some like natural strength and I could always hit the ball really hard and all that. But I broke my femur bone when I was 11, and I went from being a big kid, maybe a little chubby, but not fat, to being inactive for 6 months, and literally got out of this. I was in a body cast, and I got out of this body cast, and I was just
a body cast, like
a body cast. Yeah, it was all the way up to like my chest.
What the fuck for?
And then I guess because when you break that femur bone, you can't move at all. So the cast went down on both legs, and then there was a bar across my knees. So like I literally could not move.
Oh God damn.
Yeah, it was pretty.
How long were you in that body cast?
So the body cast I was in for about 4 months.
What?
And like, yeah. And I'm glad it was when I was 11 and not when I was like 13 or 14.
Yeah, because how would you have jerked off?
Yeah, that didn't exist during that time, I guess.
Yeah, at 11, yeah, no, but like at like 15, you're like, God, that would have like, it would have just been coming out in your sleep, and then that would have been terrible.
even more so.
Yeah,
I was in a hospital bed, so my mom, like we had a hospital bed in my house, so my mom had to wipe my butt for me, and it wasn't a good thing.
Yeah,
like I had to. Yeah, she had to help me go to the bathroom and everything. So it was definitely, I guarantee it was tough on her too. She didn't want to wipe an 11-year-old, an 11-year-old 110-pound kid's butt,
There's no, like we were just talking about, there's no mama bear that's doing that.
Right.
That doesn't happen.
Yeah. That's in the wild. You probably get left.
You just die. Yeah. You just die. It's over.
But no, that's not, I can't blame everything for that. But when I got out of my body cast and I was super fat, my leg, like my right leg was super atrophied, I just had no muscle. All of a sudden I'm the slowest, fattest kid out there, just horribly, weak, not flexible, everything. And I never really started working on any of that because I didn't have anybody saying, hey, let's do these exercises. Let's go for a walk, let's eat better. My mom was a single mom. She didn't know anything about health and nutrition. We ate a lot of fast food. Like we'd probably eat Taco Bell, McDonald's, that kind of stuff 5 days a week, and
there's no thinking about it, right? You just like, we didn't know how bad it was. Like we're not going to hate, like, I don't know. I don't hate the 80s parents because they didn't know how bad the fast food was.
Right. Yeah. It's just the knowledge as far as that kind of stuff goes seems like it's increased a lot, even though, our country's still got a lot of problems obesity wise and all that stuff. But so it's
crazy that it still happens.
Yeah.
It's not crazy. It's poor people, right? Like what are you going to do? Like you can't, like, you can't afford to go to Whole Foods if you make minimum wage.
Yeah.
Like McDonald's, you can feed your kid 10 McDonald's cheeseburgers for $10.
Right. Yeah. If you have, like my mom, she was a single mom with 3 kids.
Yeah.
And me and my brother, we're big, you're
eating.
We're both, we're both big kids. My sister, she probably didn't eat quite like us, but that's three other people. But my mom would work, and she would say, once we were old enough, she would just be like, hey, here's $10, here's $20, go to the fast food restaurants. And we'd walk to a fast food restaurant. That was our dinner. And that was a common thing. And then when it wasn't fast food, it was like big casseroles with just,
because it feeds a lot.
Feeds a lot, pretty inexpensive. And my brother and I we would like almost race each other to see who's going to eat more food.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
it's one of those things like, I don't know, different subject, but like barbecue in the South is the same thing.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's because it's super cheap. Like a brisket's like $2 a pound. Right? Like, so if you can learn to cook that thing and make it really good, you're going to, like, you get 20 pounds of brisket, dude, that's some meals, bro. That's some meals for $40.
That's kind of your thing, isn't it? Learn how to cook. Like, don't you barbecue every week? Something or smoke or.
I would love to. Yes.
Seems like it.
I barbecue a lot. People, I get phone calls on people's birthdays if I'll cook their birthday dinner. Yes. So
that's pretty good. That's impressive.
Because it's steak. Most people want a good steak.
Right.
And And yeah, so steak is like steak's one of my things, and you can do it for like you can't purchase at a restaurant a better steak than what can be made correctly in the house. You know,
Yeah.
where there's other things like like sushi, right? If like on my birthday, I like sushi. Like I can't make the sushi, right? Because I can't get that kind of fish, that quality of fish anywhere. Right. So I have to go out for my birthday. But but a steak, man, fuck. You there's no reason. If you want the best steak, like if you haven't had it cooked correctly, then which is no restaurant cooks it correctly, then you have not had the best possible steak.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't even say that because the restaurants are always better than what I cook. So
that's just a knowledge thing.
Yeah.
Because what I do isn't hard. It's just called the reverse sear, and it's not difficult, but it's time consuming. It's a 2-hour process at the minimum.
Gotcha. I'll have to do some research.
It's so easy, bro. All you like literally, yeah, it's easy. We'll talk about it.
All right.
So anyway, yeah, you're fat. Me too.
Yeah. So I was I know your story because I listen to your podcast all the time, but or I know some of it, I should say, and I read your book and all that. But so I for whatever reason, I never wrestled as a kid. I grew up. My brother's my size. He's also a jiu-jitsu black belt now, and we were rough kids, and we fought in our neighborhood, and we had boxing challenges and stuff like that. But I was weak. I had no mental toughness. I didn't know it at the time. I would have thought I was some hardcore kid back then, but no mental toughness. Was in high school for whatever reason. I still couldn't tell you to this day, but I saw the wrestling flyer on the wall at school, and I'm like, I'm going to go out and try wrestling. And so I go home and I tell my mom, I want some wrestling shoes because I'm going to try wrestling. My mom was like, and she knew because I was a swimmer. Like I swam in junior high also. But I did not swim in school because I was too embarrassed to wear the suit,
Okay.
And my mom was like, you realize what those wrestlers have to wear, right? and she was just kind of thinking like, there's no way. As soon as he realizes this, or as soon as he goes out, like, I don't think she thought that I was going to stick with it,
Right.
At the time. And I went to practice. The very first practice, it was like, hey, we just want to see where you guys are at physically and who's wrestled before. And a couple kids on our team had wrestled before, and it wasn't as popular. Like now they're wrestling at 5 years old, but it was back then there was a few kids that wrestled. They had us run 1 mile at practice, and then we had to do like a series of push-ups and sit-ups, and they were just seeing where we were physically. And I quit running before I finished the first lap of the mile,
right,
on the track. I literally was like, oh, it's only 4 times around here. Ran about halfway through and quit. And, breathing hard, no mental toughness, no grit, anything. I couldn't finish the mile. I ran half of a lap, and then the push-up test came, and
this is high school. It's not like you're like 5.
No, this is freshman year in high school.
So you like know like you like you could tell yourself to keep going, and you just didn't.
Correct. Yeah, I was so mentally weak, and that was kind of part of it. Some kids, I feel like from watching them, they just have it. I didn't. I had to. My mental toughness and everything was definitely learned.
Oh, God. Okay. I'm so glad you just said it. I was waiting for you to say it, not me. Because there's this jiu-jitsu thing, like this company, they make t-shirts that's on belts that you can't teach heart. And I so disagree with that.
Yeah. I think that, yeah, I know exactly what you're saying, and I understand what they're saying too, but, it's definitely, for me, it was definitely a learned behavior, and it came with time. It came with failing and failing, and then learning how to fight through that.
Dude, at your core, are you still kind of a pussy at your core? Because I am. Like I have to battle it still.
Yeah. I think I don't know. I'd have to think about that a little bit because, I've always been now. When I was, as an example on the SWAT team, we had like these guys have some mental toughness and grit and stuff too. So we would do like these challenges and things like that, but it's not like a natural thing. It's not like,
yeah. So what I'm saying is like, look, if you put me in the place that where I have to be mentally tough, like, yeah, that's simple.
yeah,
Like I know how to do that. Right. But
Yeah.
like, I want to say like when I stub my toe, oh my God, when it doesn't matter. Right. When I can just like, if I want to crumble, I can just crumble. You know?
you're gonna hop around and start cussing and yelling.
I don't think I'm that bad anymore. I mean, like but it's definitely. Actually, I know I'm not that bad. I don't even talk like it's definitely a learned thing. You know, like it's not. It's not this thing that just came so naturally to me. Like, like it seems like Tim Kennedy, like he's the prime example, right? It seems like it just comes fucking natural, that motherfucker, right? Like he's like posting his address on fucking Twitter to ISIS, like,
Yeah.
like, what are you doing, bro? It's fucking ISIS. And he don't care,
Right.
But like it sounds like we have a very similar story. Zero. I have the same story. Like I tried out for basketball in like middle school or some shit. And the first day they just wanted to see us run. It was just running. The whole hour was just running sprints. I didn't go back the second day. I was like, fuck that. Like this ain't basketball.
Yeah.
This is running. And really they were just testing our grit. They wanted half the people not to come back the next day.
Right. Yeah, no, that's because then, that eliminates kind of the people who they see are going to quit anyways, right?
Yeah, it makes it easy for them.
Yeah.
So anyway, sorry, push-ups. Now the push-ups.
I would have quit if I was a freshman with no guidance. I would have quit. But
right.
Yeah, so I couldn't do one legit push-up when I started the season. And I remember this because like I couldn't do good push-ups, I couldn't run, I couldn't do any of this stuff. And I remember over Christmas break, I would literally lay on the floor probably 10, 15 times a day and just try to do 1 or 2 quality push-ups, and then
right.
By the time I went back, I remember like getting this small little compliment from one of my coaches, like, "Oh, you've been working on them over the break," because I could do like 3 push-ups after the Christmas break, like good ones,
right?
Not not the
not the belly
like,
to the floor, not the whale.
Yeah, legit push-ups. But I was motivated. So my freshman year on the team, I was the worst wrestler on our team by far, and I think I was just motivated by different things, and going back to, growing up poor and stuff, I was fortunate enough because my mom couldn't afford wrestling shoes that season. And I was fortunate enough to, I started going door to door and knocking on people's doors. "Hey, can I mow your yard for $5? I want to earn some money for some wrestling shoes," and I started earning some money, but I was fortunate enough that a friend of our family, Scott Reynes is his name, bought me my first pair of wrestling shoes for that high school season. He saw what I was doing and he's like, I don't know what they were cost wise back then, probably $50 or less. And he bought them for me. And so I still remember that kind of little thing, even though it's 25 years ago now, 24 years ago or whatever.
You know what I think about a lot, bro? I think about a lot like, so that guy bought you your first wrestling pair of shoes, right?
Mm-hmm.
What about the kids where like, and then, I mean, that probably helped you, right? That helped you wrestle, that like, what about the kids that experience never comes for them? Like there's no Scott.
Yeah. It's out there and it's sad.
It's out there a lot. It's terrible,
Yeah.
It's fucking terrible. I'm watching this show on Netflix right now, When They See Us, about the Central Park 5, Have you heard about this story?
No.
It's these kids that and they get out, but it's about these 5 kids who there was a rape of a girl in Central Park, and all these black kids from Harlem had come down to Central Park that night, and they were just like they were being teenagers causing a fucking ruckus in the park, and then they just get railroaded. They just get absolutely railroaded by the cops, like to the point where like when they're arrested, like 2 of the kids' dads, like, and these kids we're talking 14, 15 years old. So young, right? Like to the point where like the cops can't talk to them without their parents, right?
Right. Yep.
But the parents have to like make this decision. They didn't know anything about a rape or anything like that. They just thought their kids got arrested. So they go down and like they're waiting to talk to their kids and they're like, "Hey, I got to go to work or I'm going to get fired and then my family's fucked." Right?
Yeah.
So they leave their kids in the fucking police station and then the kids get interrogated. They're like, "Yeah, go ahead, talk to them."
Yeah.
You know, like it's fucking like that, you know, like, and for you and me, like we couldn't imagine leaving, like if your kid got arrested, right? There's no fucking way in hell you would leave the kid, right?
Oh no.
Like there's no way you would let a police officer talk to your child without you sitting right there. And you probably wouldn't even say anything. You'd be like, "Nope, shut the fuck up, lawyer." Right? Like, like, you know, but like these parents, like these, like the underprivileged, and I'm not talking just black people. Like, you know, I think it makes it worse if you're, you know, poor. I don't think it, definitely, right? I think, but like the factor, like that you're sitting there, like, God, if yeah, I have to leave my kid right now, because if I don't leave my kid, my whole family's fucked.
Right.
And
yeah,
that's
can't tough.
Yeah, you can't see a month down the road of, oh my God, right?
Yeah.
Like, so man, like, what do the kids do when they don't have the Scott? Like, God, it's fucked up, right? Because they're just kids.
Yeah,
They're just kids.
And I don't think there's an answer for that, right? Like,
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's happening.
Oh, it's happening. Yeah, it's definitely happening. It's you know. So
yeah, that's something that, like, you know, I see it with you, and I am kind of the same way. Like, I feel almost like this obligation because I was given certain things, and it, like, I never had everything I wanted, but it seemed like for some reason things just would somehow work out, you know, like I had Scott, I had, you know, as I'll keep continuing to tell my story a little bit, but I had my wrestling coach who kind of took me under his wing and became like a father figure to me. And I had, you know, just like this path that it just ended up working out somehow, you know? Mm-hmm. So
out of your control though, nothing of your doing.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
No, like, there was, I mean, I put in the work and stuff like that for certain things to happen, obviously.
Of course.
But if there wasn't these certain people that came into my life at the right exact time, none of, like, and I'm talking athletics, you know?
Right. Yeah, sure. Yeah, but athletics sometimes sets your life.
For me, it sure did.
Yeah, for me, it sure did too. You know, because that was the path, that was like the thing we were doing. And for somebody else, it's like the violin. You know, or it's art, or it's cooking, or it's whatever it is. But we need these people to come into our lives, right? Like,
yeah, like, absolutely.
Like, there's like the idea of like a self-made person, and I talk about this all the time. I think obviously, you know, like, it just doesn't exist. Like, somebody had to come into your life to like help make your life. Yeah,
exactly. It wasn't. You could be self-made as far as, yeah, you grew up poor and this, but along the way, there was one person, you know, like, and I could go back and I could name steps from my high school wrestling coach to the assistant coaches who are friends,
right,
to my first work my first boss in the military. You know, if he would have said, no, you can't leave the unit to go wrestle on the Navy team, then everything after that, me going to college, me making the Olympic team, me meeting my wife, and, you know, having kids with my wife and all that stuff, the whole path has changed from that path. One decision.
And that was not yours.
Correct. Yeah.
You know? So that's always like this real interesting, I think about it all the fucking time, you know? Like, and then how do, cause like my thing is I want to sprinkle as much luck dust, you know, on other people as possible. Right. Right. Like that's the thing, you know, like, like, here we go, you know? Like, let's see, you know, I stole it.
The luck dust. I haven't heard of it, but yeah, it's good.
You know,
I like it
because that's what it is. You know, that's what it is. It's because it's randomness, right? It's all randomness. So can I create the randomness for people?
Yeah. You know? And I think from what I've seen, you've been doing it, you know?
Yeah,
so
we can do more. We can do more.
Yeah.
You know,
no matter what, you're gonna think that too.
Yeah, I fucked up, man. Yesterday was terrible, bro. The fire unit actually came. Yeah, the fire truck actually stopped by the school yesterday, There's this kid.
Oh,
Yeah, there's this kid, man. He's been hitting me up on Instagram, to come out and train, which
yeah,
I get all the fucking time, right? Like, I mean,
right.
2 or 3 times a week, I have somebody hitting me up like, "Hey, man, I'm gonna come out," and I'm like, "Oh, great, we're excited to see you."
Yeah,
No, man, you don't understand. I'm gonna be the champion. Right, sure. Like, man, I'm stoked to see you when you get here.
yeah.
Well, guess what? This kid showed up yet on Tuesday.
Right.
First time this has ever fucking happened. And I'm like, okay, what's up, man? All right, you made it. Right? Fuck yeah, good for you. Well, practice was over. I was like, my next practice is Thursday. I'll see you Thursday.
Yeah,
So on Wednesday night, I was getting like, dude, the fucking world ended at my house on Wednesday. Like my internet went out and my LTE on my phone went out. Right? So I had nothing. Nothing. I'm gone. I'm like, whoa. But it would randomly come back on, and I'd be getting these messages from this kid. And it was like 9:00 at night, so there was nobody at the school,
right.
and it was like, man, I need some help, and I have no way I don't have his phone number, and I have no service, but it would just pop through on my screen, and he's Instagram messaging me, and then like whatever, he stopped I think my service went out and I couldn't, dude, I show up at the school yesterday and this fucking kid was having a goddamn breakdown. And he's just not mentally there. He's homeless, So I don't know how he got from Florida to Colorado. Like his whole thing was to get to our school, and like now he can do it. And literally he got there and he just broke. He's like, I walk in and he's talking to one of my instructors going, look, I'm either going to train here or you got to call fucking 911. And I'm like, oh my God. So I'm like, well, let's call 911. So it was terrible, man. The kid's like suicidal. I felt I felt awful that I didn't pay attention more.
Yeah.
So we fuck up too. We fuck up too. So.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's never going to be perfect, and you can't help everybody, even though you would like to. But
I know you can't help everybody, but this kid was right in front of me. So sometimes I definitely like beat myself up about stuff like this where it's like, fuck, the kid actually showed up. I was like, no way,
Right. Yeah. So, and then you can't control the messages and all that stuff either.
Yeah, no, nothing. So, but he's getting some help now. This kid's like, the paramedics came, like the fire truck came, like, so that, I think your crew came. Right, you serve my area, right? If it's your fire truck.
I do. So I was actually, when you said that, I was thinking of what shift it was, because I've been to your school on a call, and then obviously we did your fire inspection this year and stuff.
Yes,
so
yeah, it was 1:00. It was like 1:00 on a Thursday. So but so the fire truck left right away once they saw it wasn't an emergency, and the paramedics were super good, and so hopefully the kid's getting some help, So maybe getting to Colorado and to Easton like still is going to help him out, even though it might not be the route that he was thinking.
Right, exactly.
So, all right, back to Scott.
So freshman year, Scott buys me these wrestling shoes. I wrestle, I suck, I'm horrible. I played baseball, so my thing was my freshman year in high school, I made it through the wrestling season, but then my grades were too low, and I was ineligible to play baseball for my high school. So I still played for like the basically Little League, but it was like the club team that we had back then or whatever. Play baseball my freshman year. At the end of my wrestling season, I remember talking to one of my coaches and the assistant coach, and this is kind of where I differ from a little bit of, it's just what motivates me differently than others, I think. But the assistant coach at the time, he's telling the kids, hey, you should go to this wrestling camp. It's a great wrestling camp. It's you'll learn from these guys. It's really intense. And then telling other kids, oh, you guys should try this one too, and blah, blah, blah. And I walk up to him like, hey, coach, what camp do you think I should go to? And he just looked at me and he was dead serious. And it was probably, he was probably right. But he said, Adam, I don't think you should go to a wrestling camp yet. You're not ready for a wrestling camp. And like,
Sweet.
Obviously, Yeah. Obviously, I was like a freshman in high school, just I didn't let it show, I'm sure, but man, that was a statement to me that was just like, I just, was like, it set me off a little bit. Like it was hard for me to hear it, but at the same time, it really motivated me to where I left that day and I was like, all right, next year I'm going to be the strongest kid in my weight class. I'm going to work out every day. I'm going to do this stuff. And I did, I literally started probably the next couple of days. I joined 24-hour fitness. It was named something else back then, but that's what it was. And I lived a mile from there. And I remember the membership was like $15 a month. And my mom was like, we can't afford that. And I said, I'll pay for it. And I did. I started mowing yards and doing stuff to pay for that. I would run/walk every single day to the gym. And I say run/walk because I couldn't quite run that far. And then I would do weightlifting thing. I learned how to lift weights out of Flex magazines and Men's Health magazines and all this stuff. And then I would walk back home, and I did it every single day. And it started paying off. I started becoming physically stronger and things like that. And sophomore year of high school, I was still a junior varsity wrestler and ended up having like a 15-15 record and got like the most improved wrestler award and all that kind of stuff. But about the last quarter of the season, I got kicked off the team because my grades were below what they needed to be. And I actually, at that time, made the bonehead decision that I was going to drop out of high school. And so I left my high school, like literally quit high school. And I was going to try to go to a continuation school where it's kind of like you go on your own time. And, it was like,
Damn, are you a high school dropout? Kids.
So no, I'm not.
Okay.
But I was so I left the school, like legitimately left the school, signed up for this continuation school.
Doesn't your mom have to sign you out?
Yeah, she agreed.
Did, huh?
Yeah, she agreed to to letting me try this continuation school because, I was failing. I didn't get my sophomore year in high school, I didn't earn one credit. So I was like a year behind everyone else.
All right, let me ask you another question. And I don't want to hate on your mom. Okay. So don't try to take this. I'm going to try to phrase this correctly. Right. So obviously you grew up very poor. Right. So you have like this poor people's mentality. Right. Like your whole life, your mom does, Would you ever sign your kid out of high school right now?
Oh, no.
Right. It's so crazy how that happens.
Yeah.
Like, it's so crazy to me. Like, I have a kid who's his parents signed him out. He's 13, 14 years old. And it just baffles me. Right. Like what poor people will do. Again, like going back to like the same thing, with the Central Park 5 thing, like who the fuck leaves their kid with the cops? Right. Who the fuck leaves their kid with the cops? And like, are you kidding me? You signed your kid out of high school? Like, because it doesn't even cross our mind, right? It's like, I mean, I'm not gay at all, and there's nothing that would make me gay, right? And there's nothing wrong with being gay. I'm not saying that. But if you gave me the choice of like, Eliot, you got to go gay, or you got because it's just so against my nature is why I use this example. Okay,
right?
Like if you have to be gay or you have to sign your kid out of high school, I'm like, all right, I guess I'm gonna have to be gay.
Right?
It's just impossible. Like literally impossible for me to think I'm going to sign my kid out of fucking high school.
Yeah.
What? And I hope, look, don't take that wrong. There's nothing wrong with being gay, motherfuckers. Right. But like, if you're not gay, like going gay, especially for a male is like, almost as impossible as signing your kid out of fucking high school. Right. So like for us, especially, right. Like boys, like either you are or you aren't. And if you aren't, then it's like, are you kidding me?
Can't even imagine why, but
you can't even imagine how you would do it. But I'd figure that out before I figured out how to fucking sign my kid out of high school.
Yeah. And I will tell you this, my mom, this is just for her sake a little bit. Like,
right.
I was an asshole. Like the reason that I was falling out of school is because my mom would try to wake me up every single morning for school. And I just refused to get up. And she, I'm bigger than her now.
You're bigger
She's
than
not
her.
gonna,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
a good point. What's she gonna do?
So every single day she's waking me up for school, and I'm just like, I'm not going to school today, like,
And she can't physically do it. She can't.
She couldn't physically make me. She was like, she gave every effort, and then I begged her. I'm like, this way I could just do it on my own schedule, and I'll do it, and blah blah blah. And I'll tell you what, I went to that continuation school, and the first day, I just realized like I am in the wrong place. Like I don't know why I'm here. I was like, to be quite honest, I was a little bit scared at that school because it was like the gangbangers. It was like the true bad kids, like I thought I was bad and tough. It was like these
that's a good
the
point.
ones who scared me.
That's a good point with your mom. Like you and I don't think about that because like even when our kid's 14, like I'm gonna be able to fuck him up still.
Yep.
Like as long as I'm not paralyzed, right? As long as nothing like catastrophic happens, like or I'm gonna be able to call somebody,
Yeah,
like one of my homies. I'm like, yo, I'm paralyzed. I can't fucking move, but come get this kid out of fucking bed.
Right.
Come get him out of bed. Like grab him by the hair, and get him out of bed.
Could you imagine being like a 14-year-old kid and knowing UFC stuff because your dad's a coach, and all of a sudden Curtis Blades comes and picks you up out of bed.
Curtis Blades just walks in. Right, just walks in. Hey,
going.
Get up. Oh shit. Like, Man, there's something else you said right there too, like the continuing ed school, where you're like, you're just not part of this. I have a friend who thought he was crazy, and he went and checked himself into the psych ward,
Yeah.
And the very first day he was like in there and he was like, okay, I'm good. Yep. I'm not crazy. I can go now.
Yeah. No, I see a lot of that at my work. You could tell when somebody's, and you could tell like when it's people who have these problems from alcohol and drugs and stuff. And then when people have these problems because they legitimately have something going on, right. And it's like, you could tell, at least it seems like it is to me. Might not always be clear, but it seems like I could tell.
Oh, there's a definite
this person
difference.
Legitimately needs us to be here right now.
Yeah, there's a definite difference. Like that kid yesterday, he has something going on.
Right.
He was not high. He was not on drugs. Like, and
he obviously wants to do something good. That's why he seeked you guys out.
Yeah. I legit, like he was like, oh man, this kid really needs help. Like he needs some help. Some people you just it's not that, right? Like some people, and sometimes some people you're just going through a little bit of a period of a tough time,
Yeah.
But you can still I think you can still see, like even when I was going through my tough time, I think when somebody talked to me, they were like, this guy's just going through a hard time, They weren't like, oh shit, this guy is crazy,
Yeah. Yeah. So that was kind of like a turning point in my life because as a sophomore in high school, I reached out to my coach, and at the awards banquet, I had already left the school and went to the awards banquet, and I think I already said it once, but I got the most improved wrestler award for that season. And I went up to my coach and I said, hey coach, I really appreciate everything, but just want to let you know that I'm not going to be wrestling anymore because I quit school, and I'm going to try to get my credits through. The school was called Desert Winds.
Okay.
And he was like, what? And don't get me wrong, I wasn't the best wrestler on the team still. No reason why, but for whatever reason, I think he took the opportunity, and he's like, started talking to me, and he's like, I think you need to get back into school and go to Lancaster and continue to wrestle for me and get your grades up and all this stuff. And it was too late. And so we had to go through a lot. And I mean, he set up appointments for me to go like talk to a psychologist and write letters and do all this stuff. And he actually fought and got me back into school, into my high school. So I was out of the high school for maybe a semester, went back my junior year. I was technically a junior, but I had only had credits of a freshman because I didn't get one credit my sophomore year. And so then it was on. Then it was like, I realized what he did for me, and I was like, okay, I can't blow this opportunity. So my junior and senior year, I continued to do what I was telling you about with like the weights and all that. And obviously I was going to wrestling. But I went to regular school full time. I went to independent study in addition to school full time to earn extra credits. And then 4 nights a week, I went to college classes. And it was, it was like elective classes, like weightlifting and swimming and whatever it was.
Credits.
But I did that 4 days a week, my junior and senior year, plus summer school. Plus my coach was also making me, like, the weekends when it wasn't wrestling season, I was working out. He was making me, and I say making me, like, at first it was, I couldn't say no, but then it started like growing on me. But on Saturdays, we were running stairs at the college, or we were hiking. We were going to, like, he would get me up at 5, 6 in the morning, to go do these workouts and stuff. And I think it was because he knew, like, he was staying on me, and it stopped me from staying out late partying the night before and doing the same things that I was doing. And, it all ended up working out, and I ended up making up a whole year's worth of credits in addition to my junior, senior year, and graduating on time. Continued to get better at wrestling. My senior year in wrestling, I was, my junior and senior year, I was the first time kid from my school to win what's called the Golden League Championship. And I ended up being 44-3 by my senior year. So, but it was just work. Like, that was it. All I did was work, school, work, school, work, school. And by work, I mean working out, but then for some reason I still found time to mow yards, and I chopped wood and everything, because, I was starting to earn my own money to get nice clothes and all that good stuff. So I kind of learned a work ethic that's where it started, was with wrestling, and was definitely with that coach in high school. So
man. Yeah. There's, like, again, that thing, right? That guy that comes into your life, that just, sure, you did all of this work, like, take nothing away from you, right? Of all the work you did. But you have no reason to do that work if he doesn't get you back in school. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, if he didn't get me back in school, the guys I hung out with, have been in and out of jail. Some of them are in prison. Some of them, they're working, like, they're struggling, they're working whatever jobs they can just to make ends meet. And, and, like, somehow I took this path, and it was, like I said, if none of that would have happened up to that point without that specific coach.
I just think about dumb shit all the time. Like, why did you do that? Like, it's so interesting at that. Like, it's not like your mom wasn't trying, right? It's not like maybe there were other people that you don't even remember that tried to help you at some point, that you were like, man, fuck this guy, Like,
I'm sure it happened all the time.
You just don't remember it, right? Because it wasn't the moment for it to spark.
Right.
It wasn't the moment for it to spark. And, like, so why that time did it spark?
That's one of those things that's like, I can't answer that question to this day. I can't answer why I stuck with wrestling when I sucked.
Yeah.
And I was a good baseball player, and I gave up on it after my freshman year. I was like, I'm done with baseball. I'm just going to wrestle.
Right. And you were good at baseball.
I was good at, like, I was probably, I would say, and, people might argue with me about this. I'm still going to say it because they never saw me play in high school, really, because I quit. But in my age group, there was me and there was one other kid. His name was Frankie Rosado. And we were the best two kids in that area at that age group at the time. And Frankie was better than me. Frankie ended up getting drafted and stuff like that. And then we had another kid a couple years older than me that we played with that was better and played in the pros. But there was
so at that time you were on that level.
Yeah, I was like one of the guys, And but like I said, the guys that I'd never played with that ended up playing at my high school and stuff, they have no clue,
Sure.
And I quit, and so I can't say, oh, I ever got there.
Right.
But
still, like, it could have been that path. Like, what, it's like these kind of things. Like, It's free will, it's a free will discussion because I'm not the biggest believer in free will.
Right.
Like until we can know what made that choice happen,
Yeah.
like why you made that choice, like, because in my opinion, like, and people hate this because it sounds like my whole life is determined, and I don't believe like anyone's life is determined, but like I think that like why we make that choice in that second, I think it's all about our chemical makeup and our experiences up until that point. That like if you were put back in the same position, like the same Adam Wheeler, right? Like nothing different. Like if there was another Adam Wheeler in like a second universe standing right next to yours,
Yeah.
that had the same things, I think the same decisions get made, because like it's the chemicals and life experience. And at that point where it happened, boom, all right, no more baseball.
Yep. No more baseball. And who knows too, because I became like, and like I was physically, I became one of those guys that was physically just like dominant as far as like strength and stuff, because I was doing all this extra lifting weights and working out. And who knows if I would have found that if I was still playing baseball, I could have just, like died out on not working as hard, where for wrestling, I knew what I had to do, where baseball, I don't, who knows if I would have said
Cecil Fielder that shit.
Yeah.
Fucking 300 pounds. I mean, still in the Major League Baseball,
Right.
But like, you're a fat fuck,
Yeah. And who knows, like, cause I became very like athletic and strong and fast and stuff,
Right.
And I'm not saying that bragging, but that was because of what I was doing to get better for that specific sport.
Sure.
And who knows if I would have accomplished that physical ability if I wasn't doing it for that reason.
Man, what did it for me? What made me not fat? A chick.
Yeah.
I was at a party, okay? And I'd never hooked up with a chick before. And this really good-looking chick hooked up with me. And I was like, "Oh my God, no way." Like, are you kidding? I was like, imagine if I got in shape. like, and it's not like nobody told me not to get in, like, I knew how to get in shape, right? I just wouldn't do it. I was like, man, imagine if I got in shape, what kind of girls I could get, and then done.
Yeah.
Like it was on for me. And then after that, like athletics, more like, and I was trying to play basketball and all that stuff before, but like I played as a freshman, but I was too fat, and then I didn't play as a sophomore and a junior. And then like the summer going from junior to senior year of high school, this chick hooked up with me. And I was like, oh, fuck yeah, this shit is on. I'm getting in shape. I'm getting back on the basketball team. Like, like.
Yeah.
And basketball didn't work out for me like the martial arts thing did, but fuck, a girl that I don't even, God, I couldn't, what's her name? I mean, like when I say hooked up, like we didn't do anything crazy, right? I didn't know what the fuck I was doing.
Right. Yeah.
I think she kissed me and let me, and I think I touched her boobs, like,
Hey, that's a big step.
That was a big step from nothing, right?
Yeah.
From nothing to like, oh yes,
Oh yeah.
So like that was a huge step for me. So yeah, I don't remember. Yeah, so that's what did it for me. That's what made me like be in shape. But I still have this fat complex though. Do you have a fat complex?
I definitely have a fat complex, and I'm like, I look at myself and it's like, if I don't see abs, I'm fat.
I'm fat. Yeah, I'm fat.
Yeah.
And like they don't have to be perfect, but I got to be able to see them.
Yeah.
Like I don't look like I did when I weigh in anymore. But like,
yeah.
But like I got to be able to see them.
I think we're about the same. I know me and you are pretty similar in size.
Yeah.
You fought 211 and I wrestled at. I mean, you fought 205 and I wrestled at 211.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm 250 now. So I'm definitely not looking the same way that I looked back then.
No, fuck no. So, I guess when I get cancer and die is the next time I'll see 206. Is what I say.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
But anyway, you moved on, man, and you had this like illustrious career and this illustrious life, and like you just wrote a book, right?
Yeah, I did. And so, more, and I'll kind of speed it up just a little bit, but more of the luck kept happening for me, right? So I joined the military right out of high school. I was good. I was a good wrestler. I was 44-3, but I wasn't good enough to get recruited for Division One. My grades were, I got through afterwards, but I'd
Right,
never
right.
had like any scholarship opportunities or anything. So I joined the military, and luckily for me, my first boss, a guy named Kai Christensen, he I went up to him and I said, "Yeah, the recruiter told me I could possibly wrestle for the Navy team." And his first response was, and I'm brand new,
Mm-hmm.
brand new, straight out of boot camp. His first response was, "Yeah, I've never heard of that. I don't think it's true. Recruiters say a lot of stuff that to get you in the door." And I was just kind of like, well, I guess my wrestling career's over. But because he was a good boss, this is one of those lucky guys, right? He actually looked into it for me, figured out that it was true, got me the applications, got it approved through my command and everything. And long story short, 3 months later, I'm wrestling on the Navy wrestling team, and my first wrestling coach out of high school was the head Olympic coach for Greco, and his name was Rob Herman. And my first teammate, one of my first teammates that year, right out of high school, made the Olympic team that year. So I literally, like, luckily just fell into this, and you probably see it all the time, like a young 18-year-old kid. They said I was like a big old puppy with these huge paws, but just wasn't really there yet physically compared to
Sure.
like the men that I started wrestling with. Like a lot of these men are guys you might know, like Mike Van Arsdale, um,
So,
Bobby Lashley,
yeah,
like these
yeah.
guys who are just men when I'm still a boy. Like those are my first experience to wrestling,
Oh, I know
Olympic
Mike
style
Van
wrestling.
Arsdale. Mike Van Arsdale have some history, and I.
Yeah. Well, I don't know him super well. Like I do know him, and but he was already a Division 1 national champ. He was number one. Like he was expected to beat Cale Sanderson, like type good wrestler,
Mm-hmm.
and already won Division 1 nationals and stuff. And I came out of not qualifying for my state tournament, and that was my first match.
Van Arsdale.
Van Arsdale, and it was like, I mean, it was like a boy wrestling a man, you
Sure,
know?
dude, that guy's a freak, man. Like,
Yeah,
he's a terrible teacher, and I think he's such a terrible teacher because he was like, you only had to show him the move once.
and he just got
And
it.
I can remember he like asked me some jujitsu question, and it was super complicated, and it took me a minute, like, and he was like, "All right, got it." I was like, "Dude, you don't have this." And boom, I was
Right.
like, "No shit." And I like cut him a break after that for how bad of a teacher he was, because I was like, "Yeah, this is why he can't teach." Because like,
Yeah, some of the best athletes aren't the best
yeah,
coaches.
because
Yeah,
they don't understand why we can't just be like, "Hey, do the move,"
right.
And I can't, I for sure don't work like that.
Yeah. And you know what? I'll be honest with you, I'm not a coach. I'm not part of me, way back in the day, I was like, man, I'm really into jujitsu. I want to open a jujitsu gym and stuff. And then I really got thinking about it
Right?
and seeing like, I don't see you guys as much, but obviously you guys are doing great. But I see Marcelo and how hard Marcelo works too, and to keep a business like that running and all this stuff. And how much he coaches and how much knowledge he has. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, man, I got a lot of knowledge for wrestling, but like I couldn't, I don't think I would be a good head jujitsu instructor of a school. And so, I don't have it, and I don't have the desire to want to do it and stuff. So it's like,
Yeah, yeah, no, it's fine.
you, but you got to realize it, right? Like
Yeah,
I love training, and I love coaching, like little things like, oh, this is what I just did. And I like showing
sure.
people the stuff that I do, but I couldn't do it full time. And, I
No,
was a good wrestler, but
for sure, I definitely love it. Like, I'm a better coach than I was an athlete. So
yeah,
I just I understand, like, because I think I was so unathletic that I had to really understand like each little intricacy of the move. Like, if
right.
you wanted me to, if it, like, for me to perform like at a high level, I had to like really really get it, because I was like the farthest thing from an athlete that you'd ever seen.
Huh.
Yeah, no,
That's kind of surprising
nothing.
to hear, just because I've rolled with you, and like, and it is true though, because like you'll do things sometimes when we're rolling, and I'll ask you, and you could break down every little single step, you know, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Dude,
I see that.
Yeah, I have this like one of my main athletes, like she's a 115-pound girl, you know, and I am her coach. I am her coach, which is like I'm a 250-pound dude. We do not have the same game. Not even fucking close. Like we can't. You know, we can't.
Yeah.
Like, so, but I have to like study 115-pound chick jiu-jitsu.
Yep.
You know, and like I can do it. And I can't like do it when I'm training, you know, but I can do it well. And I understand how to learn really well martial arts anyway. Like, I don't know about other shit, but martial arts, like I claim to be good at nothing other than martial arts.
Yeah. And I know you're humble, but you're phenomenal at jiu-jitsu. So it's like, yeah,
this is it. I don't claim, but nothing. Everyone, people like to be good at a lot of shit. I don't give a fuck. The only thing I care about, two things, like fatherhood, you know, you know, like fatherhood and martial arts. And other than that, I'm straight. Like if I'm not that great at anything else, I'll be fine.
Yeah. You know what my biggest fear is nowadays is failing as a father. That's my biggest fear right now, and I try to.
Dude,
try to do it. Not to.
We're in a rough one right now, man. I have my oldest kid. He's like, I say it every fucking podcast that he comes up with. He's me on steroids, you know, in every single manner, like the good and the bad. And he's like super afraid of like what happens when you die. And we're not religious, you know? And I'm like a little envious of like my religious friends right now. Because I'd be like, yeah, just go to heaven, man. You know, like,
yeah.
And like, and he knows that. He, like, if I were to say that to him, he would look at me and be like, that's not how we roll. Don't fucking tell me that. You know?
Yeah.
And I
heard you say that before, Dad. That's not true.
Yeah. So, you know, and like, I'm in this like little struggle with him because like he like wakes up in the middle of the night and he's like, man, I'm really afraid. Like, what happens? Like, you and Mom are gonna die and Simon's gonna. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. Like, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, that is tough, and I'm kind of like, we're like in the middle in our family. It's not like we're not super religious, but we're not really, you know, we don't really have a path almost.
Right.
And so I'm like, we go to church every once in a while because I want my kids to kind of make up their own mind because I don't know, you know.
Right. Sure.
Like, I'm not strong opinion on that, and I remember it was funny because I remember listening to your old podcast with
Scott,
Sinner and the Saint or whatever.
Sinner,
yeah. Yeah, and I was like, I would literally think about both sides of this all the time. Like, you just, man, there's so much stuff for both sides, and but
it's interesting, you know. So like, I mean, like right now, I'm like, God damn it, why did this have to happen this way for me? Because this would be an easy conversation right now, like done. You know?
Right, absolutely.
You know, dog's gonna be there, grandma's gonna be there, everyone's gonna be there. You know?
Yeah.
So.
Yep. No,
all right, so let's talk about your book a little bit and what it's about and like how the process of writing it and all that good stuff.
So, actually, you know, and I'll tell you this because I think I sent you a text about it or told you about it, but I had been approached right after the Olympics because of my story. You know, I was one of those kids that never qualified for the state tournament. I was a very average wrestler. I was never won an armed forces tournament, never won a national championship, never made a world team. You know, I always was like close, but never really succeeded until the year of the Olympics. And then I kind of took over.
Right.
And at least took over in our country, and then obviously got bronze at the Olympics.
That's taking over a lot still.
Yeah. Like I became the guy, right?
Right.
And you know, so my story is kind of it talks a little bit about me growing up, the stuff that we talked about in high school a little bit more. It goes a lot more in depth, but then it talks about a lot about the path to the Olympics, failing, but never quitting, believing in myself, having a good foundation of people who believed in me, and then succeeding, you know, after years and years of putting my life into it, succeeding and why I succeeded. And then the mental things that like mental toughness that I learned from my path wrestling and kind of how I've had to apply it to work now. I was a cop for 8 years. 4 of those years I was on the SWAT team. I talk about a couple of the incidents I was on a SWAT team, a couple of hostage situations and shootings and stuff that I was involved in. a little bit about how I handled those, and just a little bit about how I take that mentality and that hard work ethic to everyday life now.
Yeah, but I mean, it's cool that you're a bronze medalist, right? But
Yeah,
if that was all you did, that'd be stupid.
right. I mean, and that was just, like that is the bronze medalist. That is the biggest athletic accomplishment that I've had. Obviously, I mean, Olympics is as big as it gets for wrestling, but it was just like the path of what I learned along the way.
Right. If the last positive thing you did, how old were you when you got the bronze?
27.
So if the last positive thing that you did in the world occurred when you were 27 years old, I don't care that you win a bronze medal. Your life fucking sucked.
Yeah.
You're right. like what? Yeah. Good for you. So life ended. So you lived another 60 years after 27.
Right.
Like the first 8 barely count. So the first 8 barely count. So what? You had like a decent decade, and then that's it. And then that
right.
was then you were done with life. Fuck, man, that's a shitty life.
Yeah, and what I was going to tell you about you is that So I got approached right after the Olympics about writing. A guy wanted to do my story on a screenplay, and then I got approached again about writing a book, and I was like, no, I'm not going to write a book. And then I've talked to you a few times off and on about it, but another guy recently, this was about a year ago now, approached me about writing a book, and he was like, yeah, I would really like to write your book and all this stuff. And it was a guy that I won't say his name or anything, but I was just like, I don't want this guy writing my book. If I'm going to write a book, it's got to be with somebody that I know, that I trust. And
sure.
So then I actually reached out to Craig Sesker, who has written several books on wrestling and wrestlers. And, he was the media guy for me when I was at the Olympics and stuff. And then he kind of left USA Wrestling and does freelance writing and stuff like that. And I said, hey, what do you think about this? And he's like, dude, you have a phenomenal story. And I told him some of the things. He's like, I never even knew that happened to you. I never knew you were involved with that. Like the Planned Parenthood shooting in the Springs was like, I was on the SWAT team that went in there. And, so I told him a little bit about my story. And so he's like, yeah. And then he told me what the deal was for him. Like, I'm the author, right? But he's really the one who wrote the book. I dictated, how the process works.
Yeah, but I was told to get away from that,
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll talk about that in a sec. Go ahead, finish your story. Sorry.
Yeah. But long story short, I realized how expensive it was to do it when you're not, having some publishing company come at you and do it for you. And so I was like, oh yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know if I'm going to spend all that money to do it. And to get my story out there. And long story short, I remember talking to you one time, and I asked you, and I don't know if you would even remember, but I said, well, do you think you're going to make that money back? Like, you told me about what you paid and stuff like that. I'm like, do you think you're going to make your money back to it? And you said, I don't care. And it might not have been those exact words, but you said, if my book changes one person's life, it was worth it to me. And right when you said that, it clicked in my head, and like all this luck that I've had, these people that came into my life, it dawned on me. It's like, you know what, you're right. Like, me paying to do this book isn't gonna hurt me. Like, my kids are still not gonna be not going to college because I do this book or something like that. So financially, it's not going to kill me. And, maybe I could have that same type of impact that some of these people had on me, on somebody that reads my book. So that kind of, your statement, whether you knew it or not, kind of helped me in deciding to go ahead and write my book.
That's cool, man, because it's the luck dust thing.
Yeah, it is. Yep.
It's the luck dust thing, because like, what's a life worth?
Right. Yeah. And I think we did our books a little bit differently. Sure. Like I'm kind of, they are on Amazon now, but I'm doing a lot of it,
So what's the title?
It's Believe and Achieve.
Believe and Achieve. So on Amazon, go type in Believe and Achieve, and you can find the book.
Yeah. And honestly, you have to type in Believe and Achieve, Overcoming Obstacles to Excel.
Okay.
or type in Believe and Achieve Adam Wheeler.
Okay.
Because there's so much Believe and Achieve stuff out there.
Got it. Okay.
But it is on Amazon, and
So Believe and Achieve Adam Wheeler.
yeah. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, man, like that whole thing, like it's so like I have to square the money away in my head. Like I have to go through it and be like, okay, is this going to fuck my life and yada yada. You know, like I have to make sure that is taken care of. But then after that, I just forget about it.
Right.
You know, because after that is this going to have an impact, a positive impact on the world? Because if it's a yes, then it's a go, and if it's a no, then it's not.
Right. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it too. But yeah, and that's why, as you know, I was hitting you up. Hey, how did you do this on Amazon? And we kind of did it different ways. Like I'm doing everything myself. So if people are interested in a book, they could send me a personal message too, and I'll autograph the book. You know, I'm trying to autograph them for everybody that wants them and stuff like that.
Yep. Where can people reach out to you?
On Instagram at the Adam Wheeler is probably the best way. And I get on there at least, you know, usually once a day at least. And I try to respond to everybody. Gotcha. So it's kind of one of those things that, you know, it's not like I have a million followers or anything like that. So it's easier for me, but I try to respond to everybody that writes me a message. And
I think when you hit Joe Rogan status, it gets a little difficult.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, he's on a whole different level.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But for me, I respond to everybody, and if they want a book and they want it autographed to a certain wrestler they know or something like that, let me know, and I'll sign it as such. So
cool, man. All right, well, everyone hit him up. The Adam Wheeler on Instagram. Adam, thanks for coming on, man. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
All right, man. We'll talk soon. You'll throw me around a little soon.
Yeah.
All right, man.
Yeah, or not.
All right, man. Thanks a lot.
Right.
Talk to you.
All right.
Bye.
See ya.
All right, guys, thanks for listening to this episode of The Gospel of Fire. Don't forget to check me out on all of my social media at FireMarshal205. Again, at FireMarshal205. Go to my YouTube channel, FireMarshal01, that is, for YouTube, where you can follow. I'm making these videos 100K strong. That's the goal for the year. I want 100,000 strong listeners to The Gospel of Fire. So I'm trying to make a video a week so that you guys can follow along on my journey of how I go about my day, some things that I talk about, some things that I try to work on for myself. And then finally, don't forget my website, EliotMarshall.com, where you can get up to date with everything that has to do with me personally, The Gospel of Fire. You're going to find all about my book release, also called The Gospel of Fire, February 12th. It will be for sale on Amazon that whole week for 99 cents. So all that information at EliotMarshall.com. Thanks again for listening. Thanks to my sponsors, Evo Labs and On It. So that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed the episode.